Last time I did stretch the boundaries of what a Christmas movie could be, pretty much to breaking point. It was far beyond is Die Hard a Christmas movie, which I'm not getting into. It is. But this entry is definitely more festive. People have that one film that gets them into the festive spirit. For some, it might be It's a Wonderful Life. For others, it could even be Scrooged. Some swear by Muppet Christmas Carol. When I was younger, Mickey's Christmas Carol was probably mine. But in about 2006, if I recall, Terry Pratchett's Hogfather, the dramatisation of the book of the same name, appeared. And that was it. This was my festive film. It is the one that, without fail, when I was rewatching it to make notes for this video, I wasn't really feeling it. As soon as I'd finished this, I was like, okay, it's that time of year. I'm ready. Bring it on. But it's a great piece. Everyone in this does so well with the roles they're given. We have Mark Warren as Jonathan Teatime.
It's pronounced Teatarme, sir. Everyone gets it wrong, sir.
Sorry, Jonathan Teatame. Michelle Dockery as Susan. David Warner's in this. David Jason is in this, who is Albert. David Jason and Albert are now forever interlinked. Joss Ackland as Mustrum Ridcully. That's brilliant. And of course, the voice of Ian Richardson and the physical presence of Marnix van der Broeke to portray Death. Many have done Death in these live-action interpretations. It's never been the same one twice. But Ian Richardson works for it. He's got the right sense of gravitas and importance and presence to even just a vocal performance. So everyone in this was right. I mean, I say, you know, Mark Warren, creepiest I've ever seen him. You know, he's one of my favourite character actors. Whenever he's given a role, he inhabits that role, which you can't ask for anything more. But everyone's brilliant in this. I mean, obviously Michelle Dockery also gets a second credit as Dorky Hellmice, which is an anagram of her name for the death of rats, if you didn't know that already. But this is quintessential Pratchett. One of the great things that I've loved about his works, and Reaperman to me is the greatest example, but this is pretty close, is not only that Death is possibly the most human character of them all, which in the aforementioned Reaperman causes him a lot of problems, but he can tickle your funny bone, but then bring such an emotional gravitas as well. There's a bit towards the end of the first half, because it wasn't in two parts originally. It's about 3 hours all told and broken down into 1.5 hour chunks. But there's a bit in the first one where basically Susan explains the whole idea of Christmas. And I'm not going to do it myself. I'm not going to sort of come out with it and get it all wrong and mess it up. I think it's got to come from source. So, in her own words.
It's supposed to be jolly, with mistletoe and holly, and other things, ending in ollie. It's a time when people are meant to feel good about things and eat until they explode. A time when they want to see all their relatives. I mean, it's a time when humans are really human.
Yeah, I don't think I could put it much better myself as a definition of Christmas. But another element that really works in Hogfather's favour is it does something else that Pratchett's really, really good at. And that is interweaving his A, B, C, and so on story threads together, but not in really obvious ways, you know, where people suddenly cross paths, you're like, ah, it's subtly done. We learn of why Teatame's gone to the Tooth Fairy's castle to kill, if that's the right word, the Hogfather, through the wizards. And we also learned about this whole idea of the spare belief creating Bilious, the god of hangovers, creating the Veruca gnome, the hair loss fairy. We learn of that not through what's going on in the castle. We learn it through the wizards. So the wizard story, whilst it may have seemed tacked on when it started, as, you know, he's discovering the ultimate shower, as it were, we now have a reason that the wizards were giving us that story. They've explained why the whole teeth situation works, why he's resorted to the old magics of holding a part of someone, whether it be a tooth, hair, nail clippings. You control them. You can tell them what to believe or what not to believe. And of course, Teatame, because of his childhood, where he didn't have friends, Susan calls him out on it later. She almost gets to him. She brings him down, but she doesn't quite get him all the way, because he's learned to perhaps put a wall up. I think you have to be slightly kind of hardened to be an assassin anyway. But she really kind of lays it out. You didn't have friends, and this is the only way you can do it. But he just wants the power to make everyone his friend and make them believe that he's the most important person, because he never had that. Susan's talent, not given from the death side at all, I would say. Susan's talent for looking at someone or a creature and figuring out what they are, why they are, is a beautiful part of her character. The fact she's very no-nonsense means she just sees through all the artifice that we put out. And even when she goes to the Tooth Fairy, she's like, yeah, this is a bit Red Riding Hood. Can we get real here? And gets the whole explanation. And it's one of the most beautiful moments, again, in the whole piece, where the Tooth Fairy was a bogeyman. Not a bogeyman, sorry. The bogeyman. The original. Jump out and scare kids, go boo. But then they saw that there's a lot of horrible things in this world. There's a lot of awful things that go on. And this idea of terrifying children turned into looking after them, protecting them in some way. And so that's how the Tooth Fairy was born. Because they started doing these nice deeds, going, oh, you've lost a tooth, have some money. And that started a belief. And there was enough spare belief around at the time that was it. It was enough to sustain them. But belief is really what this piece is about. That's why I love it so much. The idea that as long as you believe in something, if you hold an idea so closely in your heart that maybe it could be true. Death has a moment towards the end with Susan where he kind of says, you need the fantasy to be human. Because Susan doesn't get what he's saying at first, but he reiterates, you need fantasy to be human. These ideas of truth, justice, honour, if you, as he kind of puts it, I'm paraphrasing, but if you condense the universe into something you could break apart, atom by atom, could you find a justice atom? Could you find a courage atom? Could you find a truth atom? No. They're not tangible things. We believe in them so that we can exist. And like the Hogfather, bringing up the sun, we couch things in metaphor and fantasy because we need to. We didn't need to have the Hogfather survive so that the sun would rise. The illuminated ball of gas would still crest over the horizon, but the symbolism would be lost. And that's what the auditors want, because they're of course the big bads in many of my favourite pieces, strangely. They want to wipe out creativity and humanity to a degree. They still want us around, but they don't want us to be so free and interesting and creative. As a creative person, that's exactly what Pratchett didn't want. He didn't want creativity quashed. He wanted us to be these beautiful beings who couch things in metaphors and dance around points to protect people and believe in truth and justice and honour and all those great things. And that's really a good Christmas message. Carry on believing in whatever gets you through the day. or the week, the year, your life. As long as it's not hurting anyone, that's great. So, yeah, this is why Hogfather is my festive film. So I think that'll do it for this time. So next time we're doing something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I've figured a way of doing it. So I do hope you'll join me in the new year, as it will be now. But until then, as always, thanks for watching, and take care.